Ryan Ranks. We're back once again having another rank session here on the Second Tier YouTube channel, and today I am going to be ranking every Championship side's main striker. Whether each of these players are actually their club's main striker is kind of subjective, but I've gone with the guys who I think are each club's main striker. And the only thing I'll say just before we start is I'm basing this on how much I would want each of these strikers at my club this season. So I'm not taking into account things like potential. We once again have our categories. We have Prem quality, who are the best of the best in terms of Championship strikers. Top end Champo, Zach Viner, which are very middle average strikers in the division. We have Can Do A Job, and finally Not For Me. So we'll kick things off with the first striker I'm seeing here. That's Yukio Haji of Blackburn Rovers. I'm going to put him in Not For Me. I think Blackburn, in terms of their striking department, is actually probably one of the poorest in the division. Haji, he works hard, can be a good finisher. I think he got 9 goals last season in the Championship, but still, in comparison to a lot of the strikers who we're going to be talking about in this video, he doesn't particularly stand out for me, so not for me, unfortunately. Thought I was doing this in alphabetical order, but then I've just seen Jay Stansfield's here for Birmingham, so I'll go with him next and try to have some sort of alphabetical order. Stansfield, I guess he's more of a second striker as opposed to an actual striker, but still Birmingham's main striker in a way, if that makes sense. I'll put him in top end Champo. I know a lot of people like to take the mickey with him, saying he only scores penalties, but still, he's a very good striker at this level in terms of linking up the play, working hard, and can be a good finisher as well. So I think a lot of teams would take Jay Stansfield, even though he has got the narrative around him when it comes to things like his big fee that Birmingham paid for him in League One and what have you. He's still a very, very good striker at this level. Next up is Tommy Conway of Middlesbrough. Ignore what I said. It's not alphabetical order, clearly, because this is all over the place. But Tommy Conway at Middlesbrough is next. I'm going to put him in Zach Viner. I think Tommy Conway has potential to become a very good striker at Championship level and maybe Premier League level. Since he moved to Middlesbrough just over a year ago, he hasn't particularly pulled up many trees, but he's a hard worker, can take on players, can finish as well. I think he could be good for Middlesbrough this season, but I would definitely put other strikers ahead of him, hence why I'm going Zach Viner with him. Since we're doing this in a completely random order now, I should probably look for someone who is in Prem quality, and when I think of Prem quality strikers, I am of course looking at Joshy Sargent, who for so many years I have said now is the best striker at Championship level. If it wasn't for injuries, we would be talking a pretty ridiculous number of goals. I mean, it's no surprise really that he was being linked with the move to the Prem. He nearly moved to the Bundesliga in the summer, but still he's somehow at Norwich, and Norwich are very lucky to have them, because if they didn't have them, they'd be in a pretty perilous position, actually, maybe. So yeah, Josh Sargent, I've always said best striker at this level. He can do it all, stretch defences, score a lot of goals, good in the air as well. He's just brilliant at this level. Really shouldn't be at this level, but for some reason still is. And while we're talking American strikers in the Championship, Haji Wright is in the Prem quality category as well for me. Similar to Josh Sargent, really. If it wasn't for injuries, he'd have a lot more goals as well. But he's shown that he's able to do multiple roles. He can play on the wing as well and still score a lot of goals there. Just a brilliant all-round striker, and is really started to show his quality this season as being the top goal scorer in the division. Yeah, really flourishing at this very moment in time with Coventry City. We'll go with someone now who I don't think is Prem quality at the moment, but I think will be at some point. That's Richard Kone at Queen's Park Rangers, someone I am a massive fan of. If you're a big follower of my videos here on the Second Tier YouTube channel, you know that I big this guy up as the best signing of the summer in the Championship, and that still stands true for me, because considering QPR getting for £2.5 million, and then we're talking about someone here who will be going for around 10 times that in the future. He's got so much potential, and right now I think his top end Champo. I was toying with the idea of putting him in Prem quality, but for now I'm just going to go with top end Champo. He's quick, he's strong, can score goals. It's just about refining it and becoming the finished product, which he's definitely on course to do. This is a bit of a funny one. Jan Vipotnik at Swansea. Now, if we did this video in the summer, I would have probably put Vipotnik in Not For Me, because I wasn't very impressed with him at all at Swansea last season. I think that was one of the areas where they seriously needed strengthening. But he started this season really, really well, scoring loads of goals, and looks like he may be a completely different player. It is only a small sample size, so I'm not getting too carried away. So I'm going to put him in Can Do A Job, but I don't know if that may look very silly come the end of the season based off how he started this year. So, yeah, Vipotnik certainly looking like a completely different player to the guy that I saw last season, because he did not look very good in a Swansea shirt. Jordan Ayew at Leicester is an interesting one. I'm going to put him in Zach Viner. I think for several years in the Prem, he was quite an underrated striker. Never scored many goals. I don't think he ever got double figures in the Premier League in a season. But in terms of linking up the play, taking defenders on, working hard, he was really good. You don't play as many games in the Premier League as he did if you're completely useless. So I think he was quite an underrated Premier League striker for most of his career. But he is 34 now. He's in the Championship for a reason. I think he's coming to the end of his career, quite simply. I think it's also a position that Leicester would have liked to have strengthened in the summer, but couldn't for various different reasons. And while Ayew is still very capable at this level, I don't think he's one who's particularly catching headlines. He's not someone who's coming down with Leicester and you're thinking, God, how's he playing in the Championship? So, yeah, while he was once upon a time a very underrated striker, he's 34 now. His legs are catching up with him. That's why I'm thinking very middle of the road with him. The bottom two categories are looking a bit empty, aren't they? I'm going to put Charlie Kelman of Charlton in there. Obviously, Charlton paid a fair bit of money for him this past summer after he scored loads of goals in League One. I'm yet to see evidence that he can do it at Championship level. QPR fans were very unconvinced about him being able to cut it at this level. And so far, what I've seen with him at Charlton, I'm not too sure either. I think he's a good finisher. Absolutely. He showed that in League One. But I think you need a bit more than that at Championship level. I haven't been able to see that so far. So that's why I'm going with him in not for me. Who can we put in can do a job? How about a new guy to the Championship? That's Luka Kieramgar at Watford. I haven't seen much of him yet, to be honest, because he's started a lot of games on the bench under Paolo Pesolano, who's now been sacked. But Udinese paid a lot of money for him to get him from the Danish league, where he scored a lot of goals. Was the Danish second tier, I should add, where he did score a lot of goals. So there's question marks there, but he is absolutely massive. And in time, may prove to be a good striker at Watford this season, but I haven't seen enough of him yet. But I'd be more willing to take a chance on him than I would others. That's why I'm going to put Kieramgar in can do a job, but there is a bit of a question mark there. Oh, it's nice and even now, isn't it? 2 in each category. Let's go with just a random one. Let's go with the first guy I'm seeing, and that's Mihajlo Ivanovic. I want to put him in Prem quality. Not had a great season so far. Ivanovic, he's had a couple of injury problems, was being linked with a move to the Premier League, hence why I'm putting him in Prem quality. So yeah, his season's not got off to a flying start yet, considering I tipped him to be top goal scorer, but I'm not completely dissuaded from that pick just yet, despite him being goalless. Because I think we saw last season that he is a massive talent. When he got going under Alex Neil, his form kind of coincided with him coming to Millwall, then he looked frighteningly good. So I still think he could be a brilliant player, still very young. There's a reason Millwall gave him a big old contract just a couple of weeks ago. So I think Mihajlo Ivanovic is Prem quality, even though he's yet to really show that this season. I've still got the faith though, because last season I saw a proper player. Tyrese Campbell is up next, and I'm really struggling with this one because let me talk you through my thought process. Last season was his best season possibly of his career. He really reignited things at Sheffield United after moving there on a free transfer. This season he's not been great, but no one at Sheffield United has obviously started this season that great. Prior to last season, he was struggling, mainly due to injuries, but other problems as well. And he needed to refresh things. Sheffield United was that for him. Would I put him on the same level as these two guys? I'm not sure. So I'm thinking Zach Viner's the best position for him currently. I may move him at the end of this video, but I'm thinking more middling of the road with him at this moment in time. Adam Armstrong's a really interesting one as well for Southampton, because if you look at his Championship record, it's frighteningly good. When he gets to the Premier League, awful. But in the Championship, he scores goals for fun. Having said that, I think we have seen signs in the last 12 months or so that maybe he's waning a bit in his powers. He has got 3 goals this season, but I think I'm going to put him in top-end Champo because my confidence with Adam Armstrong isn't as strong as it probably would have been just over 12 months ago when he came off the back of an unbelievable season in Southampton's promotion. Yeah, I'm just not sure he's necessarily at the same level that he has been. I may be proven wrong as the season progresses and Southampton get better, but I'm just not entirely sure he's at the same level that he maybe once was. Oh, Ollie McBurney's up next. That's a really tricky one as well. I like Ollie McBurney because I think he's quite an underrated striker at this level, and he started this season brilliantly with Hull, and I think he gives you a lot of other things when he's not scoring goals as well, in terms of holding up the ball, closing defenders down, working hard, being good in the air. Yeah, I'm going to put him in Zach Viner, I think. But I'm always tempted to put him in top-end Champo, which I think might outrage a few people. I think it's quite impressive, really, that Hull managed to get him, considering all the problems that they've had over the summer. Yeah, I'm going to leave him in Zach Viner for now, but I may change that at the end of the video as well, because I just really like Ollie McBurney as a player. Colby Bishop at Portsmouth is next up, who hasn't had a great start to this season. He was great last season for Portsmouth, despite missing the start of the season due to heart problems, unbelievably. So I've always got a bit of a soft spot for Bishop because of everything that he overcame last season and managing to perform really well last season as well. But would I have him ahead of various other strikers in the Championship? I'm not sure. So I'm tempted to put him in Can Do a Job. I feel harsh saying that, but I'm struggling to convince myself to put him at the same level as these guys here. I'm going to leave Kiefer Moore for now, because I'm struggling to place him personally. I'm really struggling with some of these guys. Bailey Cadamarteri at Sheffield Wednesday, I'm going to put in not for me. Potential-wise, could prove to be an unbelievable player, absolutely. But let's be honest, the reason he's playing this season with Sheffield Wednesday is because of all the problems that they're having. If they were allowed to sign players and were actually paying players, then I don't think he would be playing for Sheffield Wednesday, even though he's actually done pretty well this season as well. He's taken his chance so far, but still, I think you've got to take the circumstances into account here, and that's why I'm going to put him in not for me. And in a similar vein to Bailey Cadamarteri is Will Lankshear at Oxford on loan from Spurs. Potential-wise, could be a brilliant player. He's only 20 years old. He scored 3 goals this season, actually, in fairness to him. So he's doing pretty well considering Oxford are struggling. But I'm not sure I'd be putting him any higher than one of the lower end strikers in the division. And the reason for that is because he's still fairly unproven at this level. He was on loan at West Brom last season, where I wasn't massively impressed. He's getting game time at Oxford, which is great for his development, and in time may turn out to be a brilliant player. But in the here and now for this season, yeah, he's definitely at the bottom end of the strikers in the division. Rather controversially, based off everything I said there, I'm going to kind of go against what I was just saying about Lankshear and put Divin Mubama in Can Do a Job, who's at Stoke City on loan from Man City. From everything I've seen so far, he could be an unbelievable player. I've been very impressed with him in these first few games of the season. Would need to see more evidence to put him in anything other than Can Do a Job. But in terms of winning the ball in the air, working hard, and an eye for a goal as well, I've been impressed with him. So maybe it's quite controversial based off the evidence I was just saying with Lankshear, but I'm going to put Mubama in Can Do a Job because I think he looks like he could be a really good player for Stoke. Oh, George Hirst at Ipswich is a really tricky one. I was fearing this when I came up with the idea of this video because I'm not sure where to put him. I think he gets a rough time. I think he's underrated because when you look at Ipswich's squad, a lot of their team was signed when they were in the Premier League. A lot of these players have had a lot of money spent on them. George Hirst, on the other hand, was signed when they were in League One. And people thought they needed to strengthen up front when they were in the Championship, and they thought they needed to strengthen up front when they came back down to the Championship this past summer. But Kieran McKenna has stuck with him despite all that. So he clearly thinks he's a very good striker. And in terms of link-up play, aerially, working hard, he's fantastic. In terms of scoring goals, is he the kind of striker who gets you promoted? I don't know. But that's not what Kieran McKenna wants him to do. He wants him to be that link-up player and someone to bounce the ball off for the supremely talented attacking players that they've got. So I'm going to put him in top-end Champo, even though that may incur a bit of wrath from the comment section. But I just think he is, because you're not starting every week for this Ipswich side if you're not at the very least a top-end Champo striker. Maybe he's even better than that. I don't know. I'm struggling so much with this. But I'm going to put him in top-end Champo for all the reasons I've just suggested. And you've got to argue with Kieran McKenna if you think anything else. I'm going to unashamedly put Carlton Morris in top-end Champo, even though he's coming off the back of a stinking season with Luton, of course. He started this season really well with Derby. Again, aerially, there's a lot of strikers who are just brilliant aerially at holding up the ball and working hard. Because I keep saying those three sentences, don't I? But Carlton Morris, one of the best in the air in the division, and can score goals, as we saw in Luton's promotion season and when they were in the Premier League as well. I love Carlton Morris. I think he's a fantastic striker. I was delighted when Derby signed him. I think he's a top-end Champo striker. These last four are interesting. I'm going to get Auna Hegebo out the way at West Brom. I just haven't seen enough of him yet. But he is nicknamed the Hulk, which I like. West Brom spent $5 million on him in the summer. So he must be a very talented player. I just haven't seen enough evidence yet to suggest that he should be a brilliant Championship striker this season. Potential-wise, maybe so. But this season, I'd need a bit more evidence. I think in terms of linking up the play, he's a very good player. From what I've seen of him this season, he definitely looks like he can do that. So with that being said, I'm putting him in Zach Finer. Goals-wise, he is struggling a little bit, but I think there's definitely a player in there who could be a really useful player for West Brom as the season progresses. Militin Asmajic, I don't like as a person. And as a striker, I'm not totally convinced by him. I think in terms of his pace and his explosiveness, he can offer a lot at this level, and his aggression, less said the better. And that's why he's definitely capable. He tends to score his goals in spits and spouts. He often goes some games where he offers very little to a team, but then will score a brace out of nowhere. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Asmajic as a player. I'm even less of a fan of him as a person. So I'm going to put him in Candor job because he's not someone I'm overly massive on. Emil Rees, who was Asmajic's former teammate at Preston, I'm going to put in Zach Finer. Yeah, I'm somewhere between Zach Finer and Candor job because I think for a playoff chasing side, I wouldn't have Emil Rees at my club. But for a bottom half Championship side, I think he can score goals. He doesn't offer a lot outside the box. He can dribble with the ball and he can work hard. But in terms of linking up the play, he's surprisingly poor in the air for a striker who's 6'3". I would need to see more evidence from Emil Rees. But in terms of scoring a lower end double-digit goal figure for a season, I think he can do that. But I wouldn't be asking for any more from him. So Zach Viner, yeah. But maybe I'd be putting him in Candor job on a different day, depending on my mood. And the final one we've got is Kiefer Moore, who I'm struggling to place because he was not great at Sheffield United last season, but he's actually doing pretty well at Wrexham this season. When he is the main man for a club, he can be a great outlet for them because, of course, we all know what Kiefer Moore's like. Brilliant in the air. And for a certain level of club, he can be a really, really useful player, as Wrexham are finding out this season. So I'm going to put him in Zach Finer, but that's me taking the coward's way out because, yeah, I could very easily make the argument for him to be lower as well, quite frankly. So there you have it. This has been me ranking every Championship club's main striker. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. And if you're a big fan of what we do here at the second tier, make sure you join our new YouTube membership community, where for just £4.99 a month, you get access to great perks like the second tier Discord and a bonus video every single week. All you need to do is hit the join icon right next to the subscribe button. But I've been Ryan Dilks from the second tier, and a big thank you for watching.